Hey everyone, Reid Henrichs of Valor. Purpose of the video today is to talk about a government of absolute, complete, and utter contempt. Let's go ahead and get started. Folks, when this republic, not democracy, was founded by our founders, the point of it was to be a government of servants, for the people, of the people, by the people. Government is supposed to be our servant, and it's supposed to be our guarantor of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. They are to protect those natural rights bestowed upon us by our Creator. And in turn, what it has evolved into over time, it has become its complete and utter opposite. This has become abundantly clear over the last nearly 250 years. Given enough time, everything becomes its own opposite, especially when you have a citizenry of apathetic and procrastinating individuals. And what I'm here to talk about today is, I will give you clear examples of how the government has contempt for us. A clear example of this contempt is the latest example, what happened on January 6th. And your news media will spin this as the worst thing that's ever happened to our country. This is a classic example of inflammatory rhetoric. Well, here's the thing, guys. In 2020, you had cities all across this country burning down to the ground. You had private property destroyed by violent, radical, socialist, leftist thugs. You had people that were assaulted, killed, beaten, businesses destroyed, property vandalized beyond repair, people being driven out of their businesses, never able to even go there in the first place. You had all kinds of windows being broken. You had arson. You had all these things happening across the board. And even in Washington, D.C. itself, you had businesses destroyed, property destroyed, and yet the government did absolutely nothing about it. They did nothing. They paid lip service to it, but they did absolutely nothing. Other clear examples are Portland, Oregon, and Seattle, when you have idiot leftists take over entire city blocks. Entire districts of so-called autonomous zones, yet nothing is done about it. But when the Capitol building in the United States, in D.C., when you look at that, it's to whom it was affected. The government officials said, well, wait a minute, now this finally affects us. We have to do something about it. It's this arrogance of contempt. See, they don't care when it's the little people whose business is destroyed. They don't care when it's your property that gets threatened and destroyed. They don't care when it's your livelihood that's threatened. But when their own place where they conduct business is affected, now all of a sudden it's the worst thing that ever happened, because in their own arrogance, in their own elitism, now that is the seed that shows you clearly what they want to bring about in this country, which is them at the top, they're the cream, and you are the dregs. Another clear example of this contempt is their views on firearm ownership and firearms in general in this country. You see, they'll be the first ones to get out on CNN, and they'll be the first ones to get on any news network or in the halls of Congress, and they'll be the first one, if they got a news camera stuck in their face, to say how evil guns are, and how nobody needs guns, and how nobody should be allowed to have certain firearms to protect themselves. Nobody needs rifles, semi-automatic rifles. No one needs magazines of X number of rounds, whatever it is this week. And yet, as they're speaking the venom from their sewer holes, they are surrounded by people with the very guns that they don't want you to have. They have no problem with their security detail, their secret service, their off-duty cops, their hired thugs that they have to do their bidding, their Praetorian Guard. They have no problem with that and them having guns. And they have no problem with those rifles. They have no problems with those magazines protecting them. But the moment you seek to protect your family or your house or your way of life, oh, no, you can't have that. It's once again an attitude of contempt. It's once again an attitude of sheer and utter hypocrisy, and it should be glaringly obvious at this point that they honestly don't view themselves as servants. Yet another example of their contempt and their hypocrisy are these so-called lockdowns. See, they want everyone else to stay inside like little caged inmates, and while they go off on elaborate vacations, while they go out and travel with their family, they say, oh, don't go hang out with your family, don't travel with your family for the holidays, oh, you stay home, you sacrifice, and meanwhile, example after example of them traveling with their families to exotic locations, traveling to their families all over the country. They're being caught red-handed. Oh, no, don't go to the hair salon. No, can't do that. Can't go get a haircut. Meanwhile, they do and get caught on camera doing it. This is complete and utter contempt. This is the classic Politburo mentality. This is all the leaders of communism in the Soviet Union saying, oh no, don't live in extravagance. Meanwhile, they have 3 dachas on the Black Sea or on the Baltic states. It's a classic example of elitism. We're going to talk about another example of contempt. How about this? While they're out there on camera lauding the rule of law, the rule of law, the rule of law. Meanwhile, they get caught red-handed breaking the law all the time. Some of them go to China and get insider trading deals to the tunes of millions, if not billions of dollars. You got a former Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, getting caught with violating the Espionage Act. Oh, no. There was no intent there, says the former director of the FBI. No intent? How about setting up a private server in a bathroom? Is that intent? Does that prove intent when you set up your own private server in a private residence in upstate New York, and then you get caught with it and that there's no intent there? How about smashing all of your government cell phones? How about doing that? Smashing them with hammers. That's no intent to cover up a crime? How about acid washing your hard drive? There's no intent there? Folks, if the most basic E1 in any branch of military service, whether that's a private, whether that's a frickin' the lowest level in any enlisted person in any branch of military service would have done what she did, they would be in Leavenworth for life for violation of the Espionage Act. Once again, complete and utter contempt, complete and utter air cover by their little handlers. So now that we've illustrated all these examples of contempt for us, what is the remedy? What do you think our founders did when they saw conflict with Great Britain coming? What do you think they did? Do you think that all of a sudden they just grabbed their gun out of their house and went out and did work? Of course not. They organized, they trained, they drilled for at least several years before Lexington and Concord. It wasn't a new thing. They had already established militias, they had training, they had a proficiency at the use of arms, they had units, they had networking, they had all this stuff going on. They didn't just get pissed off and then go stand at Lexington Green. They went out and prepared ahead of time. And I'm here to tell you guys this, that battles are won before you ever step onto the battlefield. And if I understand out there's a lot of people that are pissed off. There's a lot of people out there that are upset right now, myself included. But I'm here to tell you guys this right now. You cannot have a knee-jerk reaction to stupidity. You have to go out, lay the groundwork for victory. You have to polish that edge. You have to hone that steel. You have to get right here with your hands. You have to get right here in your mind and your knowledge. And you have to get right here in your heart for your spirit. All of these things are crucial. All of these things are important. And it is my assessment of a typical American gun owner that they have the willingness, they have the desire to do something. They just don't have the skills in general. There's a lot of people out there that do. So if you're one of those people, I'm not talking to you, but if you're one of those people that bought a firearm, if you're one of these people that just bought one, if you're one of these people that has had one for a while, but you never really have done much with it, maybe you just go out to the range and play, I'm here to tell you guys this, that your skills need to be brought up. You need to become proficient. You need to know how to do this stuff. Well-regulated means well-run, disciplined, and in good working order. That means proficient at the use of arms. That means you know what you're doing with it, that you can hit targets at various distances, that you know the proper techniques, proper gun handling. All that stuff is crucial. I got an American Rifleman book that talks about a lot of this stuff, as well as the history of what led up to the American Revolution. You know, we've been in business now. This is going to be our 6th year, going on our 7th. And we've had sold out classes every year since then, thank the Lord. So don't think for one second that this is about drumming up business. I don't need to do that. We have people that have come back. I've had to turn away more students that have come to class. Thank the Lord for that as well. I'm here to inform you that this kind of training exists. You can go out there, whether it's with us or any other respectable training school out there. Get the skills necessary at a proper school. Go out there and do it. Invest in yourself rather than your equipment. You need to have willingness. You need to have that ability. All that stuff ties in together. So folks, if you're out there and you're frustrated and you're pissed off like millions and millions of people are, channel that attitude into something positive. Channel that attitude into something that you can go forward and do. Something you can actually control in the meantime. And that is what it's all about, is moving forward with positive actions rather than reactive actions. If you found the information in the video helpful, subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Facebook. That link's down below as well. And if you want to learn how to use your firearms effectively, guys and gals, come on out to Valor Ridge and we will be more than happy to help you with that. Reid Henrichs with Valor Ridge reminding you, the lessons that we learn are written on the tombstones of others. We'll see you on the Ridge.